I wonder what this video says to us about leadership. I wonder what this video says to us about the use of power. I wonder what this video tells us about our own response to leadership, to those who would lead us. Here we have one guy recognizing the strength of his own positional power. Jon Stewart holds North Americans captive regularly. That's positional power. Choosing to do something that would normally be unthinkable. He steps out of the box that everyone wants him to be in to deliver a powerful prophetic message. I wonder how that message lands on you this morning. I wonder what capacity we are believing in today. Our own capacity to be different in our very next exchange, or our capacity to delegate, to leave change up to someone or something else. I'm speaking now about Circle's way of believing there's a leader in every chair. You see, leadership is not about something we will do in an if-then kind of technical fix. A technical fix goes like this. If I do A, then B will result. If I do A, I can predict B. Problem. I need hot water and all I've got is cold water. A change is required. If I fill the kettle and plug it in, it will get hot. And the water will boil and I will have hot water. The problem is what? Fixed. That's a very simple illustration of a technical fix. Another technical fix. Problem. I want to grow my investment portfolio. I read all the trends, I watch all the signs, and lo and behold, I put my money into Apple Inc. It grows very quickly. Problem solved, I've grown my portfolio. That's a technical fix. Here's another one. Problem. There's a congregation in North Vancouver facing its financial future. It wonders if it will be sustainable. If that congregation spends $75,000 a year on a program for children, youth, and families, in 5 years we will have 100 new families coming to worship on Sundays. That's a technical fix. And it may have worked in the 70s. But when it doesn't happen in the way we might expect, we look for what? Another technical fix to fix the problem that we thought we identified. And we realize the problem has as many facets as a cut diamond. The video we just watched is about leadership in an adaptive challenge. To be a leader in the kinds of challenges we face as a society with a problem of gun control, or a congregation facing its future in a culture that doesn't really care whether we live or die, is to know The technical fixes aren't going to solve problems. In experiences of adaptive change, it's not about what we do, it's about how we show up. It's how we are in relationship with one another and to the community around us. And facing the adaptive challenge of gun control, John Stewart showed up differently. He showed up in a way that no one expected. He went to the balcony. That's a phrase in adaptive challenges, in adaptive leadership. He went to the balcony to look upon the problem high above its detail. He's not mired in the detail. He's looking above it like this, above the detail. And he delivered a message to the leader in each one of us. I heard him say, "We squander our resources fighting a war we will never win. Protecting ourselves and the gaping hole of racial hatred will not be solved in the way we're trying to win a war on what? Terror and idea." This approach has given us free license to kill each other. That's what I hear him say. The solution lies not in some technical fix that someone out there should do. Someone else out there should fix this. The solution lies in how I'm going to be in my very next conversation. Leadership in adaptive challenge assumes every single person has a window on the problem, has an idea about the solution, and with the power in their hands, acts upon it in partnership with everyone else. Consider the story that Judith read this morning. Awesome story. Great reading. Weren't you there? Did you lean in as she told the story? Right. This story comes on the heels of David killing the leader of the Philistines with a single blow to the forehead with a smooth stone and his slingshot. In the part we didn't hear, one by one, King Saul has sent out his best military leadership to take on Goliath. One by one, they're killed. Saul continues to squander his best military resources trying to accomplish a technical fix. The leaders of Saul's army loaded David up with the same military hardware as everyone else who treated the problem in the same way. And David cannot move. Do you remember the story of David and Goliath? He's weighted down in all of that armor. Oh, there are so many metaphors in this story about being weighted down with armor that prevents us from moving, that we could stop and go up that road exploring our own stories, but I won't. David seems to eyeball the situation with a bigger lens. From the balcony, looking at the detail, maybe. He drops the military might. He stops repeating the technical fixes of his predecessors. He recognizes Goliath's vulnerability. And he shows up differently. Remembering what it was like to be in the fields protecting his father's sheep from a wolf who might snatch one of them away. Saul has been fighting a war that had no strategic purpose. Zero. He's just fighting the Philistines. Squandering his best military resources It was simply a war he wanted to win. With a single shot, David shows up differently and drops Goliath in defeat. And Saul's son, Jonathan, the one who should be the king, recognizes David's leadership. In the parts of Samuel that we won't read in this leadership series, there are stories and vignettes about how David and Jonathan become the most intimate of friends. What we know from this story is Jonathan's actions in recognizing David's leadership. He strips himself bare of all the military trappings and all of the signs that would make him heir to the throne. The text reads, Jonathan stripped himself of the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, and his armor, and even his sword, and his bow, and his belt. Vulnerable surrender in abject adoration. Trained to be one of those men who fights on the battlefield in the technical fixes that have not solved any problems, Jonathan realizes in his heart, soul to soul, that David will show up differently, and he surrenders all claim to the throne that by birthright and tradition should be his. Friends, in adaptive challenges, we're not always going to show up to be our best. Oh my goodness, how many times in my own zeal do I mess up, forgetting that there is in fact a leader in every chair? I mess up, I forget that. But the spiritual practices that we've been working on for the past 4 years are the way into our showing up differently. Because showing up differently is what we have to do. God has touched every one of us with the gifts to solve our adaptive challenge. Recognizing a leader in every chair calls upon our best practices of curiosity and engaging differences. Did you hear the lyric that the children sang? Count on me, 'cause what? I can count on you. Showing up with who we are, trusting that each one of us is doing the same, will change the world. Amen. Please pray with me. Holy God, you come into our lives with a story that ignites our hearts. A servant, a child of yours, reads it in a way that captivates how we might hear it. And we give you thanks. We give you thanks for those in the world who risk their lives showing up differently in ways we least expect, and offer a prophetic word that we might hear. May each of us step to the balcony looking at the dance of the detail and wonder about our challenges. May each of us show up differently in the doing. Bless us, O God, as you blessed us with story. We give you thanks. May it be written on our hearts.